Are you ready to expand your life and reality? Join us for the next hour with Jamie Bates as she shares life-changing thoughts, techniques, and awarenesses to help you expand your reality.
Hello and welcome. I am Jamie Bates, consciousness facilitator and expander of realities. My mission with my radio show is to create greater awareness of what is possible and to expand you beyond the limitations of this reality. I am grateful that you're joining me today. And today I'm going to attempt. I'm going to attempt to talk about what to do about energy vampires. And I'm going to say attempt because I know that this is a really, really sticky subject. I understand that we have a lot of points of views about energy vampires, and sometimes we feel like we have no choice but to be the effect of them. And so today I want to invite you into something different. And I really want to talk about what do you do about the people who are sucking energy from you or draining your system? I see people asking this often, like, how do I protect myself from an energy vampire or someone who is draining my system? So today I'm going to really kind of dive into this. I'm going to, number one, talk about how do you deal with these types of people? Because the reality is there are people who are energy vampires out there. So how do you deal with these types of people? Number two, how do you stop being the effect of these types of people? And number three, uh, how do you always know what's going on around you so you don't become a victim to this type of draining in the future? So I'm going to kind of dive into all of those topics today on Expand Your Reality and really just give you maybe even a different insight on someone who is an energy vampire and really kind of shed some light, if you will, on some of these topics, but additionally, really give you the space to be able to identify that and see what's required and move forward with what is going to create the most for everyone in every single one of these situations. Yeah, so today we're going to start. Let's go ahead and start by getting expanded. Let's really get into an expanded space so we can really look at this subjectively without making even the term. I feel like the term energy vampire has like so much wrongness on it. And I would really, again, like to kind of invite you into something different with that. Yes, I do get it, but I also I want to look at this in many different lights as well. So let's go ahead and put our barriers down, our barriers down, our barriers down, and our barriers down. And nice deep breath. And let's go ahead and expand out. Make yourself as big as the city that you're in. Go all the way out, and go all the way down, and all the way up. Nice deep breath. And go ahead and make yourself as big as the state that you're in. Go all the way out, and all the way down, and all the way up. And if you've never listened to my radio show before, and this is your first time and you're thinking, what is this crazy lady doing? Essentially what we're doing is we're getting into the space of who we be. We're getting out of our bodies, okay? We want to expand the space of who we are, the energy space and consciousness of who we be, and really get into that space and get out of the contraction of just being embodied, okay? Yeah, nice deep breath. Let's go ahead and make ourselves as big as the country that you're in and go all the way out and all the way down and all the way up. And again, you don't have to visualize anything. You don't have to do anything. You just have to listen to the sound of my voice. And go ahead and expand out as big as the planet that we're all on. Go as big as planet Earth. Bigger, faster, bigger, faster, bigger, faster, bigger, faster, bigger, faster. And the universe. And the multiverse, multiple universes. Times that by million, times that by million, times that by million, times that by million, all the way out to the space of who you be as the infinite being that you be. Yeah, just settle into that space for a moment. Let's just kind of feel that space of us, the bigness of who we be, how much really bigger than we are than any of this contraction, even around like the idea of an energy vampire, right? The idea that someone can come into your life and drain you. Now, I will say that there's been a time in my life that I definitely was the effect of someone draining my energy. And I guess the way that I look at it now is, and what I understand from the viewpoint that I'm in now is, number one is someone is only going to drain you because they are in need. They're in some type of a lack or a need within their own life. Okay. And whether it's someone who's being a negative Nelly, or someone who is attaching themselves and physically trying to drain you, it's because of a lack or a need within their own life. And if I'm really truly honest with myself, I feel like there has probably been times, and even in this lifetime, where I unconsciously, especially when I was a teenager, when I was in my young 20s, and I was kind of floundering and lost, where I too potentially had the capacity to be an energy vampire. And not from, again, from that scary, oh, I meant to do harm, because I'm not really sure. I'm just going to pull that through for a moment, because I knew that this was going to kind of bring up a lot for people, because we have this idea that people wrongfully come at us because they're evil or terrible, awful people. But most of the time, people act or react based on where they're functioning at within their reality, right? It has really very little to do with uh, just being bad, terrible, and awful, and it has everything to do with where they're functioning at and where they feel the lack constructs coming up in their own universe. And one of the things that I'm aware of is when we go to resistance of someone, especially when they're in some type of lack or need of us, when we go into resistance of them, it creates that energetic push-pull, right? That actually kind of fuels the fire, because then instead of giving them what they require energetically, we are resisting against them. And the idea that someone can come into your life and drain all of the life force energy out of you can happen only if you believe that there isn't an abundance of life force energy available to you. Just feel that for a moment. It's like people can only come into your life and drain you of everything if you have a belief system or a core energy around the idea that that can happen to you. Now, I think that there's a lot of levels of things going on here, because if you're functioning in a place where you're functioning already at a lower level of you, right, which I'm going to go back to, I know that there's been times in my personal life, and I will even take like times I've gone through extreme traumatic situations, right? And someone came into my life, and I can, remember feeling drained by them. And the thing is, again, if you're operating in lack and need, right, which is if you're experiencing some type of a trauma experience or some type of um, experience where, again, where you're in like a lack or a need, right? Like if you're going through something that's very difficult, you're going to be more susceptible, and it's going to be harder to replace the energy that is um, being pulled based on how much resistance you're in to receiving in general. Now, let me explain it like this. Okay, so I'm going to go back to like when I went through my divorce. Okay. Now, I can completely understand that I was living in a time of complete unawareness in my life at that time. I really didn't understand how energy worked. I was existing in resistance of a lot of different concepts. I was reacting to most of my life. When you're in a state of constant reaction in most of your life, you are going to feel depleted. You are going to feel like you're struggling to keep your head above water. And it's really easy at that point in your life to be drained by someone else who additionally is going through a similar concept, or who also has a lack of ease in their life as well. So what I'm doing here as we're talking about this is I'm just going to use this time as we're chatting to untangle you personally, each and every one of you, from these concepts where it feels like you can't get ahead. It feels like you're being drained continuously. It feels really hard to be existing in this world, because I get it. I know exactly where you're at. I've been there. Now, the thing that dynamically shifts and changes that is when you are able and capable to understand that this universe is an abundant place. And it is full of opportunities to have more, be more, choose more, do more. It is full of opportunities at any moment to turn your life around into a totally different direction. I was having a conversation the other day with a client, and she was talking about how this one job in particular, that she has two jobs, and how one job really drains her and takes a lot out of her, but she didn't want to give up that job because of the money that that job provides for her, right? And then she has the other job that she really truly loves, but she doesn't get very many hours and it doesn't have the same amount of pay. And we were talking about that, and what I was in, inviting her into, I'll say, is the idea that when we stop, because the thought that she can't quit the job that doesn't work for her because of money, what that essentially is telling the universe is well, it's all operating from, really, from the underlining energy is all operating within lack, when in all actuality, and it's an interesting thing to explain, because it's not that and I feel like sometimes people put like a definition on that of like, oh well, she's bad or wrong, and it's not even about that at all. It's this idea that we have to, trying to say this in a way that, like, we have to provide for ourselves, and not that we don't have to provide for ourselves, because we do on some level, but we also have to understand that the universe works in frequency and energy, okay? So when I put out into the universe that I have lack, that is exactly what returns to me, lack. Okay, so if I put out into the universe that I have to work a job that makes me miserable because I have to pay my bills, then the universe goes, okay, well, the only way that she can pay her bills is if she works this job that she's miserable, and that's all the universe provides you for, right? We have to make that mental shift, or that mental switch, where we understand that everything that is going on in our life right this very moment is a product of what we are telling the universe. And although you may be in a space where it's like, I feel like life is really heavy and really hard right now, and I'm getting drained by all these people around me, and it's the lack of inside of you that's allowing that drain to happen. You have to find the power and the strength within you to understand that you can move forward. You can be full, and no one or nothing can come in and take that from you. And everything, all of that is, and anywhere that we're stuck in any of those concepts or ideas, everything, all of that is. Yeah, all of that, 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 all of that. Can we just choose to remove all of that from all of our universes? And can we just choose that now? And vaporize, 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 vaporize. All I'm doing there is just clearing some of that energy because we got into the full space of us. So if you're not, if you're not familiar with what I do, essentially I'm just shifting the energy a little bit so we can have a different possibility here. So by clearing it out of there, it just gives us a new space. So the thing is when we can sit with this idea or this energy of like, when I operate in a feeling of fullness and understanding that I am the creator and the master of my reality, I can become aware of if someone's going to come into my energy space and consciousness and they're functioning in a lot of lack and they're going to try to drain me. Number one, awareness is key. Okay. Once I can identify that someone is operating in a lot of lack, I have power and control over the situation. Okay, so it's really important to learn how to acknowledge what you know without making what you know wrong, right? And when I say that, I mean like when you meet someone new or something's going on at the office and you start receiving information that, you know, Linda is energetically draining you. And instead of acknowledging that Linda is energetically draining you, you might say something in your head like, oh, that's silly. I don't know if Linda is doing that. I'm just being judgmental, or I'm just, I'm just blah, 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 whatever excuse you're telling yourself. Because the thing is oftentimes, especially as those of us that are empaths, those of us that are energetically sensitive, we want to buy into the goodness of this world all of the time, and we have decided that thinking that someone is draining us is a bad thing. And the reality is again that every one of us can operate as a drainer at some point in our life, depending on what we're going through. Anyone in this world can be an energy vampire. Anyone in this world can be a drainer. And I think that when I use the word energy vampire, we've identified and associated with that as something that is so bad and wrong, instead of realizing that it's not like the movies depict it to be. When someone drains your energy, if someone's a chronic complainer and they're always bringing this negativity into your life, it's because they are operating in a lack mentality in their own reality. And whenever you're operating in a lack mentality in your own reality, you are going to be a drainer in that area from other people. Because the people who everything, all of that is, and all of that, 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 all of that. We just choose to remove all of that from all of the universes, and can we just choose that now? And vaporize, 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 vaporize. Yeah, let's just let all of that go. There's just a lot of energy on this all together, because I feel like we have been fed so many points of views about the wrongness of this concept that it actually stops us from really seeing what's real and true, which then in turn actually stops us from functioning in a space where we are the effect of it. Because again, if you're always in resistance of an energy, you can never change it. And if you're buying a lie around the concept, you can never be free of it. And the reality is we've all been and done lots of different things in this reality. And someone who is draining you or sucking energy from you, again, acknowledgement is key. And the thing is just because you acknowledge them doesn't mean that they're going to necessarily change. They could still choose to be a negative drainer, But the thing is when you can acknowledge it, you can release the power that they have over you. You are no longer being negatively affected, because you can go, hey, Linda, I understand that you're draining me energetically, and look, here's the deal. That doesn't work for me. So you're going to have to find somebody else to go do that too, because I'm closed. I'm done. You can't get anything else from me. And the thing is when you start doing that mentally to those that are around you that are energy suckers, they go away. They really, truly do. But then there's the other side of it where, again, like if somebody is doing that out of a lack or a need in a way that you are, if you can acknowledge it and in a way that you can provide, and not from a way that where you're going to provide and it's going to drain you, but from a way where you can provide and it's going to fill you, then you may be able to help them, at least give them the tools or the information to be able to make a different choice. Not that you have to save anyone. I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or form. It's not your responsibility to save anyone. But sometimes there's people that come to me that I will say are in an energy vampire role, and there may be information that I can offer them, or there may be a tool I can offer them that can help them turn that around. Because most people are stuck in that energy vampire role because everyone has resistance to them. They feel stuck. They feel like they have no one to help them. They feel like, they can't change their life because there's no one. Everyone's in resistance of them because everyone has a point of view about who they're being. No one has allowance for what's going on around them. Acknowledge. When you acknowledge, you give allowance to what their people are being. This idea that, people are just being this, terrible, awful thing, and like you have to shut them out and, lock your doors and, put your system on lockdown around them. It isn't helping you and it isn't helping them. And it's definitely not stopping you from being the effect of it. And everything all of that is, and all of that, 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 all of that. Can we just choose to remove all of that from all of universes? And can we just choose that now? And vaporize, 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 vaporize. Nice deep breath. Okay, on that note, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to continue to talk about this concept around energy vampires. I will see you in just a moment.
The Consciousness Playground is a membership community to support you in living a conscious and aware life. Each month, members receive life and reality-changing concepts. It also includes member-only content and a VIP Facebook group to ask questions and connect with like-minded individuals. The Consciousness Playground currently has instant access to over 150 hours of life-changing audios and exclusive programs, with more added each month. Each and every month has a theme and includes audios and live calls around that topic. This playground has audios worth over $1,500 that you can access all at once. Come learn, grow, expand, and create something different in your life today.
Frequency infusion meditations are designed to create expansion of being and awareness of self. Lift and change the vibration of your body, places, and things through sound at frequencyinfusion.com.
And we're back, and today we are talking about energy vampires and really how to stop being the effect of an energy vampire draining your system. I hope that I'm making sense here. So I'm going to go kind of back over this for a moment. So number one, awareness is key, right? Someone can only affect me if I'm unaware of what they're doing. Okay, or if I'm shielding myself from, like, I'm gonna, I know I talk often about protection and about how I personally don't believe in protecting yourself, because when you protect yourself against something, let's say an energy vampire, what you do essentially is you put all these walls up to that. Well, then if let's say you meet this, nice little girl, her name is Sarah, okay, and you have all these walls up to energy vampires, and you decide Sarah is just this nice little sweet girl, and every time you're around Sarah, you feel drained and you feel yucky and you feel all of these things, and you're like, what's going on? And really, Sarah's operating in a lot of lack, and she's got a lot of trauma drama going on in her world. And but because you protected yourself from that energy, and because you decided Sarah was awesome, perfect, wonderful, amazing, you didn't even see that Sarah was draining your energy. Okay. So when you stay in that expanded space all of the time, and you understand that, you take the wrongness off the definition. Okay, that's so important, to stop deciding that things are good or bad or wrong or right, right? And understand that everything is just a concept in this reality. And the more information that you know about each concept, and the more open you are to receive from each concept, the less you are the effect of the concept. Okay? Understanding that you can be aware that someone is functioning in being an energy vampire. You have the power and the control over the situation. Okay? You acknowledge it and you stand in allowance of it, right? You acknowledge it without making it wrong. And you understand that that's just where they're functioning at right now. They are operating in a paradigm of lack, and it literally has nothing to do with me, but they're searching for someone they can receive from so they can feel whole again. Now, if you operate in this energy of, understanding that the universe is an abundant place, and if one door shuts, another always opens. And if some concepts don't work for you, you can say no, and you can move on, and you can do something different. Like, we are not stuck in this world, you guys. No one or nothing can affect you and ruin your life. I know it feels like it can. I know it feels like people can drain you and take from you, but only if you believe that you're operating in a paradigm of lack. Nice deep breath. If you always know what's going on around you, and you're always aware that, hey, this new person I met is, you know, is a drainer. They have a lot of things going on. They have a lot of negativity in their life, and that's okay. Like, when you can acknowledge that, you can still be around that person without being drained by that person. You can also, you don't have a resistance to it. You can also offer that person energy for free. No one can drain you. There's pure positive life force energy all over this world. Pull some energy from behind you, through you. Push it into their body and being. Give them what they require. Fill them up. It's not going to take from you. Energy is abundant and it's everywhere. This idea that there isn't enough, or again, it's all lack paradigm. None of it's real and true. This is an abundant universe. No one has to live in lack. There's enough for all of us to have enough. I was reading recently, I can't even remember the number. I'm probably going to get this completely wrong. But it was, and I'm not even going to name names because I'm really, um, I have to admit, I haven't been paying a ton of attention to what's going on right now in the US with the election. I did read something recently about how one of the candidates had spent, like, I don't know, $530 million on one one campaign, and it was like that's enough for every single American. And I don't quote me on those numbers because I'm probably not even right, but essentially it was enough for every single American to have $1 million. We have to expand beyond this idea that there's not enough of anything, especially energy for us. Because when we all understand that this world really truly is an abundant place and there's enough for all of us, and we expand into having money, we expand into having ease, we expand into having energy, we expand into, you know, the abundance of what is really possible in this world, and we stop buying into these concepts of lack and people can drain us. And again, I am the first to admit that I have been the effect of that system. But that was only because I didn't know that there was something else possible. Okay? I have absolutely positively been the effect of someone draining me several times. And there's been several times in my life where I have been spent out because people have drained my energy. But again, once I learned that, I could change that for myself and understand that I can live in a paradigm where I can ask for what I need and the universe can provide it for me. I can be aware of what people are being when I clear out my points of views, when I'm not making, again, the definition of an energy vampire wrong, and making it make me scared and make me go into resistance and protect myself. When I can understand that that's just a concept that's been made up and that's not even real and true. The only reason someone is draining anyone is because they're living in lack in their own life. And isn't it time that every single one of us starts to wake up and realize that the only way that we're going to change this world is if we start using our powers for good? If we stop being afraid and we stop being scared that something terrible and bad is going to happen to us at every turn, and that someone is capable and able of draining us to the point where we can't function in this reality, and understand that we have the power to outcreate any situation. We have the power to always be able to choose ease. We have the power to always have more. Nice deep breath. So with all of that being said, I want to really invite you into my consciousness playground. I am working on diligently finishing up this playground right now. There is my new program, the energetic receiving method, is in there, and it is done up till module 5. There's 3 more modules I have to do, but if you joined and you started, by the time you got past module 5, I would definitely be done, because each module, there's so much information in each module, and it really teaches you how to be that receiver. How to, module number 1 is all about expanding. It's all about why you want to stay in an expanded space. We have to stop protecting ourselves. We have to learn to be in an expansion. Module number 2 is all about clearing. You have to get out of these viewpoints. We have to get out of these viewpoints. We have to stop defining things as good and bad and right and wrong. We have to understand that everything is just a concept. And our definitions are getting in the way of us really truly knowing what's true in this world. Because once you have defined something as good or bad or right or wrong, you literally stop receiving from it. So module 2 is all about clearing. Module number 3 is all about healing these past times. I just go deeper and deeper with my own personal healing. We've been, I'm in the Awaken and Align group that I'm running right now. And, we're doing a lot with taking responsibility, doing this responsibility process. And that's a big part of healing, is looking at who I've been in the past and understanding that, it's time to forgive myself for being that person, and it's time to move on with my life. Module number 3 is all about healing. Module number 4 is all about receiving. It's time to receive from everyone and everything, you guys. We have to stop this resistance baloney. It's got to stop. Module number 5, all about getting into the way that you want your body to feel, or getting into your truth based on how your body feels. Your truth is always going to be light. You start getting into what's true for you. Your body is going to start feeling lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter, and all of a sudden you're not going to be functioning in those heavy paradigms of lack, because you're going to be following your lightness, and your lightness is always going to bring you to a space that's going to create more, as long as you're willing to be in it. Once you start buying into the concepts of heavy and hard, you start burying yourself in heavy and hard. So module number 5 is all about living in the lightness. Nice deep breath. Module number 6 is going to be all about boundaries, how to instill boundaries, how to say no. Like, just because you are learning how to be a receiver doesn't mean that you always have to be this yes man. Yes, you want to start saying no. You want to start really standing in what works for you and what doesn't. Module number 7 is all about making conscious choices. There's a powerful choice process in there that really teaches you how to make a choice and how to stand in the energy of that choice, so that the energy can be created, so that choice can become available for you. Module number 8 is all about frequency matching and alignment. Frequency matching is such a powerful tool. So that program is actually in the Consciousness Playground, minus the last 3 modules right this very moment. And each one of those modules directs you to additional programs within the playground, okay? And when you finish a module, it tells you, go do this program, go practice these tools in this program. So it's all laid out for you, and really there is so much information. And if you join the playground and you do the energetic receive method, take your time, go through those other programs, your life will be completely different in a very, very, very short amount of time. There's so much information in there for you, and there's really so much content that can really truly help you change, shift, transform, and really get into the space of you. So I hope I helped you today with the concept of energy vampires. I hope that you understand that it's time to kind of shift to the energy on this, and really understand that you can really acknowledge, be aware, be the space of allowance, and really receive from anyone. And there's no one that has any power or control over you in this reality. Nice deep breath. So thank you so much for listening to me today. I hope that I shed some light on you, or on this subject for you. You can always visit me online, my website, Jamie, JAMIE -Bates, BATES.com. Please send me feedback, comment on the video, let me know what you think about this, and if I helped you shift and change this point of view for yourself, and really maybe even if I helped you kind of untangle a little bit through the energy there. I do appreciate you, grateful that you're listening to me, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great day.
You have been listening to Expand Your Reality with your host, Jamie Bates. Thank you for listening.